anything that you might see being credited or charged to you when you log into your BSC member portal. So what I'm going to talk about today is how you get your compensation, when you get your compensation, and how your house will assess charges to individual member accounts. So I'm your resource for any questions you might have about your manager compensation throughout the semester, anything you see on your BSC account, as well as for your members to ask questions about their rent accounts and payment plans. So you can say, okay, I know who you're supposed to talk to at central office, go see Michelle. So let's start with how do you get paid, what you want to know about.
It says for your contact information.
Yes, it's also at the end of the slide, but it's michelle@bsc.com. Two L's. Fantastic. So manager compensation is applied to your rent. Your compensation is not taxed unless it exceeds 100% of your total rent that you owe for the semester. So if you're holding a position that's comped 120%, you would be taxed on the portion that exceeds your rent that you owe the BSC. Most managers are compensated as a percentage of their rent that's less than their total rent, so it's a rent credit, it's not taxed. 100% of your comp is applied at the beginning of the semester. So once you complete these three items, your comp is going to go onto your account. So that's go to all your required manager trainings, fill your I-9, and do your safety training. For maintenance managers, I think safety training's tomorrow. All other managers, house, president, work shift did it yesterday, and ServSafe is for kitchen managers and food managers. So if you have questions about what type of safety training you need to do, and if you've done it, I can answer that question for you. Same with the I-9. If you want to know if you've done the I-9 already, I can answer that question for you. So compensation will be prorated based on the date that all the above three things are complete. So it is true that if you miss a manager training and you have to make it up later on, your comp is gonna start from the day that you complete your training. Yes?
Are we liable for manager-related liability issues before we go to compensation?
My understanding is you are not the manager until you've completed all those three things. We can get further clarification from Tyler on that. Yes?
If we have an I-9 from a semester,
You're good. Yeah, so if you've already filled out an I-9, you do not need to fill it out again. Yeah.
Why would the management positions in different houses be different, like percentages?
Your house, that's a great question. Your house decides on the compensation for each position. So your house gets a budget, and then your house decides via house council and your bylaws how you're going to allocate that budget amongst your managers. And your budget is based on the number of people in your house. So if you're comped 45% of your rent, that's because that's what your house has decided to comp your position. Yeah?
What if we feel that that budget isn't big enough? Because I know.
So the budget is set by the board of directors in March for the whole year. So in March of this year, they're going to set the budget for the next fiscal year. So if you feel that the budget for your house is not adequate, you would go to the board and set that gets determined at the board level. Yeah?
So what are the numbers? So you said it's not depending on how many people are in the house?
Correct.
Do you know how much per person?
I can send you that number. I have it in the decentralized budget calculation. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this is kind of asked before. They're basically wondering, like, if all manager comp was like cut 5%, what would happen to that money? Like, would it go?
So, maybe we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but no, that's a great question. So basically, your house has a budget, right? Your house decides how it's going to allocate that budget, and if your house doesn't spend all of that money, at the end of each semester, it rolls into your house account. Yeah.
What is our time frame for renegotiating the compensation
For your budget or for your position?
for my position?
If your house council votes to change your compensation, we can adjust that effective immediately at any point during the semester. It would need council
So
approval.
my last day is the last day of the contract period?
Your last day to change your compensation,
Yeah.
we would definitely want you to vote on it within the contract period. Yeah. I mean, there's no policy on that. BSC doesn't have a policy about everything, if you can believe it. Yeah.
So I understand board of directors, like give an amount percentage, whatever. But is there surveys or numbers coming from managers how much hours they work in this, across BSC and their satisfaction level? Like, how do we decide this? How does the board of directors have decided these numbers?
That would be a great question for tomorrow's presentation, which is about budgeting and house level finances. Yeah. Okay, yes.
Sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
So yeah, so I'm splitting comp with someone else. We're doing food managers, that's easy. Anyways, that doesn't matter. So Richie from CFS said something about how we have a certain expected number of hours that we're supposed to do each week, and if we do more than that, he said, don't work for free. So apparently we get additional paid workshop.
If your workship manager approves it through the paid workship process.
Okay, well, is that all, like that's allowable?
So if your workship manager authorizes you to do paid workship and you have the I-9 filled out, those additional hours could certainly be reported through the paid workship process and posted to your rent account.
Okay.
Yes.
How many? I've put in probably
So
30 hours.
each workship manager has a number of paid workship hours that they can dole out at the discretion, that's based on the size of their house. And once they hit that threshold, you can ask Jackie for additional paid workship hours at the workship manager's discretion to give out.
Okay.
Yeah, so the workship manager has access to a Google Doc for spring 2018,
Yeah.
where they would report all the paid workship that you've done, and that as well gets posted to your central rent account.
Yeah.
And then I saw another question from Chewy.
Because I'm a foreign citizen, so I need to comply to F1 policy, F1 visa policy. So, do I still need to get permission from my school to do, like, such as kitchen manager, like these jobs? Because technically, do I need to get permission to
For
work?
individual questions, we should talk about it
Okay, yeah.
later on. Pat would be the expert person to talk to about that. Yeah, sorry, I didn't
Does
mean to.
paid workship count as compensation tax-wise?
Correct, yes it does. So if you did paid workship and your comp and that exceeded 100% of your rent,
Yeah.
then you would be taxed on the comp that exceeded your rent.
Okay.
So if you live at a room and board house, your rent is $3,441.
Yeah.
If you did $3,641 worth of paid workship, you'd be taxed on $200 worth. That's how PSC does it.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so, that being said, once your comp goes onto your account, managers are still subject to payment due dates and deadlines. So if your comp is gonna cover the first 2 payments, you still need to make sure to make the 3rd rent payment by March 7th or request a payment arrangement by that deadline. Same thing for the first installment. If your comp is only gonna pay off part of the first installment and you've deferred that first payment till January 31st, you need to be sure that you're paying the remaining portion that you owe by your deadline. So you're not exempt from late fees. You do need to make sure you're still staying on top of the 3 rent payments for the semester. Yeah.
So if we're at 50% comp, is there any way we could like arrange it so that I only pay half of the rent each month? Or do I need?
It's not, BSC doesn't bill monthly. So BSC bills in 3 equal installments throughout the semester.
Okay.
Yeah. So, your comp is gonna go on about the 3rd or 4th week of the semester. So by the time your comp is on, you'll be able to log on and pay the portion of your rent that you are responsible for. Okay, so if you want to fill out an I-9 and you brought your documents with you, I'm gonna hang out afterwards to fill out the I-9. Or if we finish before 5, some of you guys can go back to the office and fill it out with Pat Jane, who's the accounting supervisor. Okay, so comp reporting, this kind of came up already, but House presidents report on a form called the Who's Who, how much comp each manager position gets. So that is the form that I use to get my information about how much to pay everyone. So presidents, please make sure that you check that contact info for your house and make sure that the comp allocations are correct and the people are correct for the positions, because on there is where I'm grabbing all my numbers for how much you're gonna comp each person. If your manager compensation changes, so you brought up, is your house supposed to change your compensation partway through the semester, or the person in that position changes, please email the member resources assistant. Is that still what you want them to do, Tyler? MRS assistant if they change their comp?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if you change comp or the person in the position changes, please make sure presidents email the member resources assistant. Okay? And if a manager resigns partway through, your comp is prorated to the last day that you held the position. So So as I mentioned earlier, all of you are gonna get your stipend up front in the next couple weeks here. If you quit or if you get recalled, we prorate it down to the last day that you held the job. We charge your account back for the amount that you no longer earn, and then you have to pay that money back. Okay? Yeah.
Say that manager does like a really, really bad job and then like waits to resign to the last possible second. Can the house then go and say, no, you didn't deserve that compensation?
No, we don't retroactively take pay away from
So
people.
that means that we have to vote out really bad managers as soon as we possibly can.
As soon as they're not doing the job.
Okay.
Or, I mean, I also see fines come in on like house bills for uncooperative fines and things like that. So if that becomes an issue and you wanna think about ways that we can work together, you can reach out. Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna go into, if nobody has any other questions about comp, which I'm happy to answer individual questions either afterwards or send me an email. I'm really quick at responding to emails. We can go into parking, media, and social fees. Okay. Awesome. So media and social fees are charges decided on by your house council. Each unit can pass individual social and or media fees. The idea of these is that they offset expenses that your house is paying for. So media fees might be paying for your New York Times subscription or Hulu or Netflix or whatever sort of extra media that you're offering to your members. You would divide the cost amongst all the members of your unit. So you can't collect cash individually at your house for that because the BSC has to adhere to accounting principles and it's fraught with auditing issues if you're just collecting cash for these sorts of things at your house. But you do have the opportunity to vote on it at house council and have those charges assessed to each individual's member's rent account. So how to charge a media and social and or food fee. Some houses charge food fees. So you would discuss this and pass this at council between now and February 14th. So February 14th is the date that I would need a list from you all with all the people that you want to charge the fee to and how much the fee is. You would need to consider some things like if you want to charge everyone the same amount. So some houses allow an opt-out where they don't charge everyone, they just charge the people that are willing to pay it. Some houses charge boarders, some houses don't charge boarders. So what I need is a list of everyone that you want to charge and how much you want to charge them. Yes?
Why is this different from a buyer's club situation? Like, why can't we just all pool money and buy a New York Times just like we would for a buyer's club for alcohol?
So your bill comes to the central office. So we're paying it out of we're charging that bill to your house finances, and then we're charging your members and replenishing that money.
Could you explain that one more time?
The bill comes in. We charge that bill to your house miscellaneous expense bill.
Yeah.
Then I charge all your members
Yeah.
to offset that expense, to replenish that account. Okay, so same thing for parking. If your house has a parking spot, it is within your house financial interest to sell those parking spots to your members or people in the community because your house is charged for those spots and then you need to rent them to members to recoup that money. So if your house has any parking spots, you'll hold some sort of parking bid or allow people to sign contracts to park in those spots, and you'll send me a list of all the people parking in your parking spots, and I'll charge their central account. Yeah,
Who sets the prices? Are the ones under?
central office sets the prices in the budget. So there is a parking budget spreadsheet that will be given out at the finance training tomorrow, and those are the prices that your house is charged. You're willing to charge, you are able to charge whatever amount you want for the spot. So sometimes people will charge more than the BSC rate because they want to earn money for their house. BSC charges you $380, maybe you charge $500 for the spot. That additional $120 goes into your house account. Yes?
Does that mean that you all have to pay like a tax for the parking?
No, it's part of the revenue of the whole BSC. So just like your rent doesn't go to your house, the parking doesn't go to your house. It's the entire BSC's parking. Okay, so any questions about parking, media, or social fees? Yes?
So like, let's say in the event that we charge more, $380, BSC also gives the additional money?
It goes into your house account. So you're just charged for the parking spot. If you collect more than what you're charged, your house account gets that money. And then, sorry, you had a question in the back.
As someone who parks, can I get a receipt in Central or?
Yeah. When you pay your parking on the BSC member portal, you'll get a receipt immediately.
On the email?
Yeah. Anytime you make a payment through the portal, you should be getting an email receipt, or you do have the opportunity to print a receipt right there after you submit the payment. Yeah.
So I know that there was like a spreadsheet that said per spot how much it costs.
Yes.
Or how much we should charge members. Is that how much we're getting charged?
Exactly.
Per semester?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you don't sell your spots, that could be a huge suck of money from your house account because you're getting charged, but you're not recouping any of that money from members.
And all of those charges just go to BSC revenue for parking spots? It's not like.
Well, it's budgeted. So it's how your rent remains the price that it is because we say we're gonna collect X amount in parking spots. And so if we don't collect that, then the BSC is not collecting as much money as we've budgeted for as far as the rents and the parking. So it could lead to higher rent costs in the future for all members, right? Because we say as a BSC, we're gonna collect this much money, and if we don't collect that much money, our budget changes. Yeah.
It's not like, it's like the city.
No, it has nothing to do with the city. It's just our nonprofit budgeting. Yeah, yeah.
So then maybe this is trying it, but what if nobody drives?
So you can also rent parking spots to people in the Berkeley community. And parking is a hot commodity, so we often allow people, you can post a flyer in central office, you can post an ad on Craigslist, and then you can sell your parking spots to, business owners in the area, people that work in Berkeley. They're pretty desirable. Yeah.
What if our house would prefer to use that space for something else? Are we not allowed to get rid of our parking spot?
You're not, because it's a BSC parking spot. It's not just your house parking spot. So you cannot rent the spot, but then your house financial situation is going to suffer
Is there
because
any
you're.
appeal process if you feel that we really need that space?
When we're doing the budget in March, you could tell the board you wanted to reduce the number of parking spaces for your unit.
Okay.
So that would be something to talk to your board director about. Okay, any other questions about media, social, parking? Okay, so then we can fast forward to the end of the semester, where there's a process called end of the semester checkout slips that are submitted to central office. So just at the end of December, all the fall managers filled out checkout slips for fall residents with charges, and those got submitted to central office and posted to the BSC account for each member with fines. So on the checkout slip, this usually includes workship fines, HI fines, uncooperative fines, lost keys, room cleanup, anything that you've accounted for throughout the semester that the member might owe your house. You aggregate those fines and you turn it in on a checkout slip at the end of the semester. So for spring, we're gonna have checkout slips due around the end of May after the contract period is over.
Is there any way to make the payment of that fine be sooner so that we can incentivize members to move their house within the semester?
No, because they have to be charged to their central account.
But for insurance, it can come out of their security deposit?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. So right now, anybody that charged a fall bill, if they left, it'll be deducted from their security deposit, or if they're staying, they will have to pay it with their spring rent in order to remain a member of the BSC.
What if the fine exceeds?
Then we collect. We have a process for collecting money from members. Okay, so all workship fines do have to get reported on the house bill at the end of the semester. And if you include miscellaneous charges, that's fine. There is also a $3 processing fee added to each bill. Okay, so partway through the semester, people might cancel or move out of your house. If they do, you can also charge them mid-semester. You don't have to wait till the end of the semester. But this is just if people leave. They move out of your house, okay? So in the case that they do, you would email me their fines. Okay, michelle@bsc.kazoo. Just a simple email with Manuel Corona moved out, please assess his account $350. for work shift fines. And please be sure that you're keeping records from one semester to the next of what you're fining people for as far as work shift goes, because I just know the flat amount that people were fined. I'm not gonna have the detail about which weeks they missed shifts, you know, how many HI hours they did or didn't do. So that's something that should be kept internally.
For what purpose?
Because you need to be able to justify those charges to the members that are being assessed. Okay, so takeaways from this presentation. Do your manager trainings, I-9s, and safety training this week, and you can expect to receive your full compensation up front in the next 3 weeks. You will get a mail merge snazzy email from me when your comp goes onto your account, just as kind of a signal to go check your account, make sure that everything looks good and you know how much your cost is going to be for the semester. And if you do want to pass a media or social feed, make sure you discuss it at House Council and vote on it, and email me by February 14th. And I'm happy to accept parking charges anytime, so as soon as you bid on your parking spots, send me your names of your VSC partners that you have. Okay, cool. I have I-9